Okay, so this is the beginning of part 2 of project 3, and in this lesson we're going to talk about cleaning up your data and getting it ready to be imported into the stat package that we're going to use, which is SPSS. This data is David Huntsman's. It works with Texas v. Johnson, which is a flag burning case, and so we're going to do a couple things here to get this data ready to import into the package. So the first thing you'll notice that all of this stuff is kind of sorted in a weird order, and so it doesn't it's not lined up by case. And so we're going to do a couple things. We're going to first save the data, right? So we're going to create a new file to import that's going to be really clean, and so the first thing that you always do is you start and you save. Right, so let's save this. I'm going to call this, it's currently Huntsman, I'm going to call it pols5713, and I'm going to call it import, and then just save it to the desktop, and you should see it pop up over here. So we've got the old clean data, and then we've got the current data where we're going to do these manipulations and get rid of some observations and clean it up. All right. The second thing that we want to do is, let's do a couple things. We've got the whole thing selected. Let's make sure that we've got everything in kind of a uniform font. It is, but we'll do that anyway. So it's good practice. When you import things, sometimes things don't exactly work well between packages, and so it's good to have like a really simple font and then have everything uniform. It's just one less thing that the package has to deal with whenever it brings data in. All right, so we've got everything done in that context. Let's go ahead and sort this thing in a way that's useful. So we're going to go to Data, Sort. And here I'm just going to use a couple different ones. It was in ideological order, and now we're going to go in Lexis N and just make that smallest to largest, and then add a column and do the executive party. And what that'll do is it should put us in order in that Lexis site that we had. All right, so that looks a lot better. We've got the three different judge observations for each one. If we go out here, we've got kind of the whistle panels, right? And we can line that up. So 112 is a 3 out here. We got the whistle judge is correctly identified in these, so everything looks good. The next thing that we want to do is we've got some observations in here where we just don't have any judges. Those are the placeholders. So these are the en banc decisions down here. So for any of these that have an en banc and we didn't code the individual judges, right? So if you did code the individual judges, just keep them. But if you have any blank ones, let's go ahead and get rid of those at this time. All right, so I deleted that one. There's another one down here, Swisher, that's an en banc decision. And delete it. And then I think there's one more of his that needs to be deleted, and it's this Initiatives versus Walker. So we'll go ahead, right-click, and delete those. So now at this point, I should have all observations filled out here on the right side of my database, and I do. Okay, so we've cleaned up the database, we've got rid of the en banc decisions, and the next thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we have clean data with respect to type. So we want textual columns with text observations in it. We want numerical columns with numerical data, and we can't mix and match those things. What happens is if you have data, if you have columns with strings and then columns with numbers in the same and mixtures of those, the next database will just import them all as strings, and then you can't manipulate them, you can't add them, you can't subtract them, you can't multiply them, etc. And so it's really critical that you have separation between numerical data and textual string data. One thing that's always good is go ahead and click on these two date specific ones, and then let's format cells. And this makes sure that we've got the dates in the correct order. So I'm going to put these in the just kind of month date with the 4 years, and I'm going to right click those just to make sure that I've got those right of center. The other thing that you want to do is you want to go out here to this far columns, these are all the numerical values, and we're going to manipulate some of those. So we want to kind of page through here and make sure that you don't have any textual observations in here. Looks real clean, no problems at all here. The other ones that you're probably going to be looking for are head notes, right? Head notes are important. And then you're going to have your action. P action is going to be an important one, so make sure that you don't have any textual observations in there. And then also look at J opinion X, because that's the other one. So it looks like we've got good data here. Everything's clean. One last thing we're going to do before I save this and get it ready to import is you want to kind of monitor the boundary space of your data. And so at the end column of your data, I always just kind of grab it and I go out and then I just delete it. And that gets rid of any noise or any kind of cells on the outside, so you don't introduce these variables that don't exist there. At the bottom of your data, in terms of rows, do the exact same thing. So select on that data and then pull it down. And then delete, and then what you have is we have a really clean database. We've done the dates correctly, so when this thing comes into SPSS it should be really clean. So I'm going to save it as import and I'm going to close it, and then the next thing I'm going to do is go to this go to SPSS. Okay, and so this is we've saved our clean import file up over here, and now what we need to do is we need to open up the stat package. I've got it on my desktop. Grad students with computer or who are in the office are going to have it on their desktops already. I think most of y'all have done it, are taking stats right now with Tristan, so you probably have bought the package apparently. So you can just open up SPSS and we'll go from there. Okay, so when SPSS pulls up, it'll give you like an introduction menu and ask you if you want to use old files. Just cancel that out and go directly to this perspective. You're going to go to File and you're going to go to Open and just Open Data. Here you're going to tell it to look somewhere. So I've got it on my desktop, which is under this particular user. So I'll go to that user, look for my desktop, and in there I should have, among other things, some current files, SPSS files, but if I tell it to look for Excel files, it'll pull up the ones that I'm looking for. And so in here I've got pols5713 import, and that's the file on my desktop that's located right over here. And it's the clean one that's got rid of the en banc decisions, and it has numerical values and numerical columns, etc. So let's just click on it, import, and it should just work like magic. Okay. It's going to tell you to read tell you where it's going to look for. You're always going to look in the first sheet. Read the variable names because we've got variables at the top. Click OK, and we should go through. And SPSS is organized in two different ways. It's got a spreadsheet, and then on the other side of that has got the data file, or this is sort of your log file, and then the other one is your where your actual data is. And there's two views down here. There's data view and then there's variable view. If you look here, this is why that step on the different parts was important. So this is going to tell you that lexicon is a numeric value, title is a string, etc. And so if you have mixtures, it's just going to make everything a string, and that's a problem for us because we can't multiply strings and then we can't manipulate the data. So this looks pretty good. We've got all the data. If we go all the way out, it seems to be in order, and all the way down it seems to be fine. Still have 102 observations. So net, we've done a good job, and we'll be ready to manipulate this data in the next video.